Welcome to Ken's Corner Podcast, Season 2. It's time. Are you ready? Now here we go with your host, Ken Judge.
Hi, everyone. This is Ken from Ken's Corner, and today I'm here with, I guess, a Stouffville historian on sports, and his name is John Sprague. How are you doing today, sir?
Good. Actually, my full name is John Allan Sprague. People call me Al.
It's nice to meet you. And we're going to jump right into this. Let's talk a little bit about the hockey scene here in Stouffville. Let's go back to when the original arena. Let's talk about that arena and some of the exciting players that you witnessed grow through that time.
Well, that arena is a godsend for a lot of people. That arena kept us out of trouble when we were kids. The memories of that arena are just tremendous, something that you can't replace. My vocabulary, it's hard for me to explain what that meant, not just to me. I mean, when I was a kid, I started organized hockey in the Stouffville Arena when I was 5 years old. So that would have been 1965. And growing up, and I looked up to all the people there, all the players coming up. I mean, going back to the original Clippers is my first memory of the Stouffville Arena. My father taking me to games and sitting in that old cold arena, drinking hot chocolate and chicken soup. And I still remember all the players that played on that team, and that would have been the 1965-66 team. Some of these guys, I end up playing with their kids, or they end up being my coaches. Just a tremendous amount of respect.
That's amazing. I agree with you on that. That arena held some sort just a lot of history. I felt every time I went in there. I'm more in the era of Keith Acton, who came through there, and my uncle actually played for the Clippers as well, Mark Faulkner and Al Faulkner. So it's great that you mentioned the Clippers.
Five in Aljo.
Yes.
I grew up with those guys, but
That's
I mean,
my uncles.
are they really? Eh?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Faulkner, their uncle, he was one of the original Clippers, and I played with him pickup hockey. So I mean, yeah, like Ike Hodgson's, Bob Hazard, Paulie Minton, Bud Lehman, Larry Gilroy, Jake Harmon. I remember I was in awe with those guys growing up. Dennis Forsyth, Carl Keffer, Bill Holden, George Stark, Kenny Hayden was the captain, Stoney Jackson. So yeah, it was it's an honor to be part of that heritage.
Yeah, that's amazing, and a lot of great names that you're talking about there. People right here from Stouffville. Now let's move it up a little bit and let's talk about the present day. Is Stouffville still considered a hockey town to you?
Not like it was before, and I don't want to sound like it doesn't have the same pizzazz and things, but I mean, I'm not personally involved in the hockey today. I don't think it means as much to any of the original 2000. The population of Seoul was 2,000 at the time. I mean, still to this day, you walk down the street and you see these people that grew up with and played with, and their fathers, and you just know there's a connection. So, I mean, is it the same today? No, absolutely not. No, I mean, in a lot of ways, I mean, the cost structure to begin with. I mean, I got my first pair of skates when I was 16. We just had hand-me-downs. So I mean, from that standpoint, and it's changed in the way that unfortunately, the kids who don't have the parents with the financial income to send them through the proper steps in hockey today, in minor hockey, is probably the biggest shame. But I mean, that's not on Stouffville. That's the way it is in all of Canada, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're probably right there, sir. Thank you for that analogy. I want to move on to a little something different.
Okay.
I interview a lot of, if you were to watch any of my interviews here in Ken's Corner, we do a lot of independent wrestlers, WWE style. Now, can you run us through any history that Stouffville might have in the wrestling world?
Oh yeah, huge memories. That was back in the '60s. And I believe, and I'm not positive on this, but Stouffville was the only small town at that time to have wrestling as its venue. I mean, I remember going and watching Whipper Billy Watson, Billy Watson Jr., the Mass Marvel, the midgets, and we all thought it was real. We didn't know that.
We still do, sir. We still do.
I mean, I'm talking mid to late '60s. I was a kid, and they put up the posters, wrestling, and borrow a quarter off your dad and go watch it. And but that was that stood good for all ages. I mean, if you were 5 or 50, you were in the crowd. That was a good thing about that. It lent itself to all ages.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I would love to have some wrestling back here. I actually do have a friend who's planning on hopefully bringing something here in April. I'm praying that he does, and I'm offering my services to help him in any way to bring wrestling and independent wrestling here to back to Stouffville. I think it would be a big hit here.
Oh, absolutely. Dewey Robinson. I'm trying to think. He was the Mass Marvel and Whipper Billy Watson Jr. They were the rivals, and yeah, that was quite a time. I'll tell you. And if you don't mind, Jeff, can I tell you something that a lot of people in Stouffville, or I'm sorry, Ken.
That's okay.
uh, that may not know,
Yes.
and I think it's pretty cool. We talk about the wrestling and the hockey and the baseball, and those are all great things. But I'm going to say in the late '60s, early '70s, we had a lacrosse team in Stouffville. It's called the Stouffville Shamrocks. And Mr. Wilbur sponsored it. And his son was the captain of the team, Frank Wilbur. And they're in the league 1 year, and they won the championship.
Oh,
It's a lot of,
congratulations.
yeah, that was something that was even more unique about Stouffville. The best sports town there was. People like you mentioned, Keith Acton. I mean, looking up to him and the guys he played with. He's older than me, but my brother played with him right up to Bantam. So between me and my two brothers, we played in just about every era.
Yeah. And there is a few other names I know that have followed Keith, like Michael Dalzotto out of Stouffville.
Yeah,
So
yep.
we do have quite the history of sporting people either living here or growing up here. That is very true.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good hockey players come out of Stouffville. Bob Hazard, he played in the NHL in the mid '50s. So that's how far back it goes. I was lucky enough to play with guys like Steve Shell and Steve Spang and Jimmy Chilvers, and we went to the All Ontario finals, and and I still see those guys today. So that was 50 years ago. 50
That's
years ago.
amazing. That's amazing. You
Yeah.
mentioned baseball. Now, this will be my last set of questions here, kind of.
Yep.
I want to talk about the history of baseball in Stouffville. Now, I remember growing up, I started right here in T-ball in Stouffville and went right through to midget. And when I remember back when I was younger, there was a lot of slow pitch teams here in Stouffville, like the Buttermakers and the
Yep.
Raiders, some of those teams like that. I'm wondering where the heck did they go, and can we get that back? Is Stouffville still a baseball team, a baseball city? I'm sorry.
Well, I played for the Buttermakers as well. I was on that team. And what happened, my answer to that is that when we all retired, so to speak, I mean, for reasons, I mean, some of us got married, we're in our early 20s. Nobody just picked up the ball behind us. And it got more and more difficult with restraints, with the diamonds, and that as the years went by. So, I mean, to have something like that again, I mean, another that's a whole new another set of great memories. I mean, Mark Faulkner, Mark,
Yeah,
he's one of the better ball players I ever played with.
I
Uh,
agree. I agree 100% there.
Fives, he was a good player. Jimmy Chilvers was our pitcher. He went on to play for Canada in the World Championships.
Wow, amazing.
Uh, Dave Dart, yeah, we had some good teams there.
Yeah. I
It just all never got renewed.
I do
Uh,
see some interest there because I see this three pitch, no umpire league that they do have here, and it seems to thrive pretty good up in Bloomington and in the main diamond. So I'm very surprised that they couldn't move it back to what it was.
yeah, yeah, and that's and not to mean to go back all the time, but there's more memories. I mean, Bob Parrish, he's in his 80s now, but he was one of the best fastball pitchers around at the time. So Stoney Jackson, so just a lot of great memories, a lot of great people, and they know who they are, and we know who they are, and yeah.
Thank you. To close off our interviews here today, John, or Alan, actually, I'm sorry. Um,
That's
my last question for you today is: do you have any other interesting insights that you can share about the sporting world of Stouffville, Ontario?
Yeah, the All Ontario Championships. I remember when Keith Acton actually, when he was playing Bantam with Doug Feesby and Doug Todd, when we won a championship, the the fire truck would pull up in front of the arena, and all the guys got to jump on the fire truck and go up and down through town. That was, that was a big thing. And again, I don't know if Stouffville was the only town to do that. I think maybe we invented it actually. Uh, and yeah, you get to if you win the Ontario Championship, you get to ride on the fire truck up and down Main Street.
That's amazing. Amazing story. Thank you so much. I want to thank you so much for joining me here today.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. My name is Ken, and I'm on Ken's Corner. And today I've been with a Stouffville historian on this in the sporting world, Mr. Allan John Sprague. Thank you so much, and you have a great day.
Thank you, sir.